Before we get started with two of my favorite people behind me, I just wanted to say a couple things. There is a Writers Week fundraiser that will be happening next Friday. It is a half day at Menchie's, so feel free to get some froyo and support Writers Week. The Writers Week store is currently open, so if you or your parents or your friends missed out on a first round of purchases for t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, the store closes Friday at midnight, so get your clothes there. Quick thank you. I did not say thanks to these people when I introduced on Monday, but I really need to thank you to everybody up in the tech booth, because I have been asking crazy things of you for more than a week, and you guys have been super accommodating, so please a round of applause for all the students and staff who came on tech for us. They're the reason why you guys can see previous performances on YouTube. That if you were not able to come during a period, it's online, and it's because the tech crew is working super hard to make that happen for you. Thanks to the English department for all your hard work. I greatly appreciate it, and mostly thanks to you guys. I'm sad that tomorrow is the last day of Writers Week. I know. But you guys have been absolutely fantastic, a fantastic audience since the first day, so I'm excited for what's to come. Good? All right, so the first presenter this period is my good friend. I'm gonna say good friend, not just friend. My good friend, Marilyn Burdick.
So I have a PowerPoint. I don't know if our wonderful tech team is awesome, but it's up there ready to go. It's not, it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I just can't see you guys to see if it's yes or no up there.
okay, well, you guys told me you had it ready to go.
That's okay. If you guys can find it, great. If not, I have to talk for a minute here or two. All right. I'm also kind of timing myself. Oh, do I have? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay. So, all right, a lot of explanations to do. So, some of you yesterday, I hope, got to see Jeremy McCarter, who co-wrote the Hamilton book. Yep. So, I know, I was pretty excited because about a month ago, I actually got to go see Hamilton. Thanks to Mrs. Zhang, she helped me do that. And you're on very jealous. Like everybody else who knows that show or anything about it, before I go any farther, I love all my students, but yes, a shout out to my 6th-hour class. And I can see you guys, so don't be thinking I can't. Okay. I want to make sure I didn't stop guys. So I went to see Hamilton, and just like everybody else, I became completely obsessed. So yesterday when Jeremy McCarter was here, I was pretty excited. And I'm not kidding you, I'm not exaggerating, for the past month since I saw it, that's all I listen to. Morning, day, and night is the soundtrack, so it's in my head a lot. And so there's I was trying to think of what to write for Writers Week, and there's a phrase from one of the songs that keeps going through my head, and it's one of the songs that Jeremy McCarter mentioned yesterday, so I'm like, oh, it's a sign. And it's from the song Yorktown, which is about Yorktown. Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. They say it earlier in the song, but towards the end of the song, they sing this phrase, the world turned upside down. And it's really cool how they stage it and sing it, because it's right after we win, but the chorus is singing it, but it's really quiet. So it's almost like an awe and wonder that they sing, the world turned upside down, because it did. We were these 13 little silly colonies, and Mother England, so powerful, and truly after we kicked their butt, boom, the world was turned upside down. So I love that part of the show, and that phrase has been in my head a lot. So I thought, well, maybe I can use that to write something. So I was trying to think of something I could write about with the world being turned upside down, and lots of things came to my mind, and I was a little dazed and confused, and then I heard Mrs. Ank again in the back of my head, because she was awesome, going, choose one, just choose one. And she's so right. So I chose one to write about, and I hope that a lot of you are aware of the fact that last fall, in October, there was this little thing that happened here in Chicago, A lot of you know this, but a lot of you don't know me and don't know this. I am a lifelong, diehard Cubs fan. I also have season tickets to the Cubs. And I realized last summer as I was sitting at Wrigley that I've had those season tickets for half my life. They're a little sobering. So I've been to a lot of Cub games. And because of the fact I'm a season ticket holder, I got to go to most of the playoff games. And that was a little crazy as well. And I didn't think I could really write about the Cubs because it was just, it's almost indescribable what it was like to go to the games and watch the games at home and go through all that. So I thought, well, don't get all philosophical and, mushy if that's not where you're going to go. And why don't you keep on taking a page out of Hamilton? And so I thought, I'll just mess with rhythm and rhyme, kind of like, nothing like Lin-Manuel, but, whatever. I'm an old white lady. I can't do what he does, so. But anyway, I thought, I'll try and write some poetry about this overall. So that's what I did. But I have to explain something. So the reason why I'm a Cubs fan is because of my two people, my older sister and my mom. And they are, my mom figures in the poem a lot. My sister's awesome. She's still a big Cubs fan, but she lives in Kansas, so she wasn't around for the playoffs. But my mom and I go to the season tickets together. So we went through this whole playoff thing together, and so she kind of figures prominently in my poem. I don't know where to go. This way. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. Oh, there we go. There's my mom and me. Thanks. She's so cute. So this is actually us at the last day of the regular season, but I thought we'd start off there as well. So, all right. So I just titled this poem "My World," turned upside down. So not very original. This microphone's totally in my way. All right. So let's see what I'm doing. I remember when I'm 7, I'm in heaven and it's great, checking the standings every day. Where the Cubs are in first, they're truly not the worst, and I start to understand each play. But it's 1969 and it turns out things ain't fine, and the Cubs blow it in a horrific way. But I stayed true, still believe in Cubby Blue, and it's been that way to this very day. Mom and Sis made me a fan of the best team in the land, going to Wrigley when I'm just a wee lass. Watching Ernie, Billy, and Ron, Fergie up there on the mound, many summers so blissfully did pass. But I remember '84, we were knocking on the door, still till San Diego stopped us flat. In 1989, when the Giants crushed us fine, I never believed in any stupid black cats. Oh, then 2003, as I watched in delighted glee as we got to the NLCS. But then all hell broke loose, people hung a Bartman news. By the way, that's a lot of BS. We were just 5 outs away, and I looked on in dismay as we blew it big time once again. Then 07 and 08, too much hoping on my plate, and we go 3 and out both years. I'm still loving my awesome Cubbies, but in all honesty, I'm crying Cubby Blue tears. Then the Ricketts come along. What? Singing a different song, huh? Buying up Wrigley and the team. They assure us they are in this, but the Cubs, they might go winless before we can begin to dream. Theo Gutson cleans the mess, making changes right and left. 3 years later, the Cubs still stink. It's 2012, it's a season of pure hell. The Cubs, they're driving me to drink. Losing 101 games, everyone's sharing the blame. We can't give our tickets away. There are all these empty seats, yeah, you bandwagon freaks. Where were you back in this day? But I do take notice, yes, indeed, clearly focus on this kid playing over at first base. His name, why, it's Rizzo, and he's drawing a bit of buzz, so let's remember his adorable face. 2013, a little better. 2014, we're all in this together. And then, a miraculous thing. We've signed a lot of youngins, but now we get the big gun. Joe Madden's gonna manage the Cubs. Say what? So, 2015 season, finally give Cubs fans a reason to think we might be onto something here. Now with Rizzo, we've got Bryant hitting like they're giants. The Cubs are now instilling fear in the hearts of other pitchers and in hearts of other hitters. With Lester and Arrieta on the mound, And we Cub fans, we're so joyous, we're losing our paranoia. Oh, hearts are light in old Chi Town. We hold our breath all summer. Please, don't let this be a bummer. Comes down to the wild card game against the rival Pirates. Now all that new player hiring, will it get us what we crave? Y'all know the answer is yes, and you probably know the rest. We beat the stupid Cardinals in the NLDS. In '03, we got this far. We're not looking back right now. We face the Mets in the NLCS. I'm in a New York state of mind, though. Who's not thinking of '69? And revenge would be so sweet. But the Mets, they beat us flat. Where the hell are our bats? Killing us in a 4-game sweep. I have to switch my picture now. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Oh. That's my mom and me on opening. See, it says opening night. Cool, huh? So you all know what's going on. So 2016, there we are. Okay, it's opening night. 2016 rolls around. Schwarber, Fowler on the ground. Kyle's hurt, and we all heave a sigh. We had such high hopes. No, we don't want to mope. We'll miss you, Kyle, but the team must try to find ways to win. Other people just step in. Contreras shows up and hits a home run. In his first at bat, Jesus, would you look at that? Who is this guy? We start to have some fun. Joe and his crew keep the guys on track, thank you. Yet we Cub fans still hold our breath. Not until we actually clinch, making the playoffs ain't a cinch, but we do it on a great September day. Hooray! Now that talk is back again. If the Cubs can really win, 108 years of grief just go away. So, Mom and I, oh, went too far. There we go, NLDS, we gotta do that first. Mom and I, on game night 1, having NLDS fun, playing the Giants of San Fran lore. World Series champs, they've been quite often, but we now shut that coffin, because in the first game, they don't even score. Yeah, we beat them 3-1, coming back from being down, winning it all in the city by the bay. We're in the NLCS for the second year. No BS, our Cubs seem to be on their way. I know, my mom and I keep sitting in the same position for these pictures, but they're really different pictures, though. I'm just not putting them there, so. Back to the NLCS, it's the Dodgers there, they greet us. Mom and I are cheering on from our seats. Come on, Cubbies, get this done, make that World Series run. For my mom, you cannot let yourselves get beat. Since 45, my mom's been waiting, and she's doing a lot of praying, and you gotta get to the series for her. She's 84. So please, play your hearts out. Mama Burdick giving a shout out, and we beat the Dodgers 8-4. Like her age, 84, it's a sign. Woo. But hold on there, not so fast. The Dodgers then hit the gas, and they win games 2 and 3. But finally, the Cubs' bats explode. Yeah, we hit the mother load. Mama and I are dancing with glee. Because we win games 4 and 5. Oh yeah, we're still alive, and now we come to game 6. If we win this one, Cubbies will have done what they haven't in their home of ivy and bricks. Win the NL frickin' pennant. That's what we said. It would be such a thing to observe. So Mom and I are in the stands, and yeah, we're holding hands. Please get this win for which we yearn. Guy on first, but we're not bitter. The last batter's a pinch hitter. He hits a grounder to our Addison. He throws to second base. Javi wins that little race. Over to Rizzo. And the Cubs have won! Holy shit, I feel like I'm dreaming, and we Cub fans are just screaming. And I hug my mom as we realize what we've seen. The Cubs have won the pennant, not since 45. Oh, hell yeah. Mom and I are living the dream. Woo. So, I love that picture. Look, it says the world, I can't even talk. The words World Series on the grass at Wrigley Field. Crazy. So, the World Series begins, playing the Cleveland Indians. They win the first game, but we win game 2. So everyone is giddy, thinking we're gonna win it, sweeping 3 games in our home field pinstripe blues. Mom and I are at the park on this adventure we've embarked. We're at a World Series game at Wrigley Field. Say what? And I still feel like I'm dreaming through this fantasy of a season until the Cubs unfortunately yield. But we figure we'll win tomorrow, but no luck, and there's much sorrow, as we're now about to be eliminated. Yeah, we've got to win 3 in a row. How can this be? And yes, I am starting to be super jaded. Back at Wrigley's friendly confines, hoping fate might finally be kind. Last game here on the north side. So we're hoping and we're praying, please more baseball we'll be playing, wearing high our Cubby pride. We get up 3-2 by 6th inning, but who knew we'd have to hold on to that lead for 9 more outs. And we stand and never sit from the bottom of the 8th, holding our breath, hoping we will shout. And we do, because Chapman saves it. Lester Bryant surely gave it all their all, and Mom and I are tickled pink. Our Cubs go back to Cleveland, giving us something to believe in. They win game 6, putting them on the brink of that long-sought glory road. Don't let those curses now erode our sense of wonder at what just might be. On that fateful November night, Cubs, please make this go all right. We're watching together, my mom and me. An unimaginable game. It's a little Hamilton thing there, get it? An unimaginable game. It will go down in baseball fame. By the 6th inning, we're up 6-3. Cub fans want to feel it's fine, but Mom and I know toe the line when it comes to thinking Cub fans are home free. 'Cause we're not. And we all get shocked by that damn home run that ties the game up. It's the bottom of the 8th, and the night is growing late. The Cubs seem so out of luck. Can we all stand the pressure? Hitters, pitchers, fielder, catchers. We cannot lose this game. 2 years we've been so good. Please keep playing like you should. And then it begins to rain. Rain? Are you freaking kidding me? I'm so tired and it's so late. How can this possibly turn out great? Mom and I share a look of disbelief. This game is just plain nutty. Home run rate have made it crummy. But the rain delay is brief. Hayward, Jason Hayward, what the heck? Hayward turns into a leader, tells his team to stick together, team meeting during the rain delay. So rain is now our friend, because when it finally ends, the Cubs come out ready to play. There are no hero acts, just the Cubbies swinging their bats, and we get 2 runs in the top of the 10th. So to the bottom of the inning, and now we are winning, and there is anxious tension on the Cubs bench. The Indians do score just 1 run, please God, no more. And now we're just 1 out away. Mom and I are hugging tight on this more than special night. Could this be the final play? Ball to Bryant as he goes, smiling, 'cause he knows this is it, as he throws to Anthony, who goes up to make the grab. The crowd goes truly mad. Cubby players jumping in their victory. And so are Mom and me jumping, hugging in our glee. Is it true? Have we witnessed history? The Cubs won the World Series. The Cubs won the World Series. And now I get to quote from Hamilton because it fits. We won, we won, we won, we won. The world turned upside down. The world turned upside down. The Cubs won the World Series. The Cubs won the World Series. It's okay. Miss Fritz and Mr. Anderson like my mom too, it's okay. I am so happy to now bring up our other wonderful colleague and friend, Miss Andrea Fritz.
And a round of applause for Miss Burdick's rhythm. Shout out Norbs.
Nicola.
What the heck? Hi. Thank you all for being here. This is not about the Cubs, but it was inspired by stories that my mom told me, and my mom's right up here, and my dad's right up here, if you guys want to say hi. And if it wasn't for my mom's willingness to share some of these things, these stories wouldn't exist. So this is, I feel, more her story than it is mine. It's called By God or by Witches. In the time before women were professionals and lovers and mothers, they were either housewives, witches, or whores. If a woman was of a certain age and unmarried, then everyone gossiped about her scandalous affairs. And if people didn't think she was quite pretty enough for those, then she was obviously a witch, as was the case with Rosemary and Ethel Jingling. The Jinglings were born into a bleak night long before the town of Hopedale had a gas station or grocery store. Rosemary came first, punched a fist straight through the center of her mother's sprawling body, with Ethel clutching her sister's heel close behind. The midwife had some difficulty unraveling all their pieces, the umbilical cord squishing and binding the girls' legs together into a tangle of sausage casings. Some slaps on their backs and a swell of wolfish screams later, and the Jinglings had arrived. An immigrant, their father, Eustace Jingling, settled with his wife and twins in Hopedale, not because of what the town had, but because of what the town didn't have. There was a school, a Catholic church, and a decent population in need of a place to purchase household goods. Maybe it was the weeks at sea, trapped with sickness and wandering, that did it, but by the time he landed at Hopedale's town line in Midwestern America, Mr. Jingling wanted nothing more than a solid place to be, surrounded by the comforts of home. So when he saw the need for a store and the opportunity to open one, a building where he could be embalmed within the song of dishes being stacked and cans of food being dependably shelved, he took it. With a few hundred damp dollars rolled into his palm, Mr. Jingling bought the vacant brick building on the corner of Main and Madison Streets. The store had been there for nearly as long as the people, and so had Rosemary and Ethel. Growing up, I went into town with my parents Saturday nights for a community dinner at the Lions Club. Rosemary clomped out piano tunes while Ethel led a group of freshly scrubbed boys and banana-curled girls in song. If it was someone's birthday that week, Ethel would plod slowly out from the kitchen in her black, chunky-heeled Oxfords, holding a plastic birthday cake lit with real candles. She was not as hefty as Rosemary, and her thick, flesh-colored stockings didn't smush her calves as much. Still, they both shuffled around like they'd been shoving coal into their shoes since coal was discovered, and a few of the boys had it on good authority that they had. The top of the plastic cake was always a mess of melted wax because it took Ethel that long to get from the kitchen to the main room, which was just next door. When she finally arrived, we wide-eyed kids sat amazed as flames flickered into the crevices of her shift dress, but never set the clinging wool that was stuck inside some part of her midsection aflame. The birthday girl or boy would stand eye to eye with Ethel, mirroring his or her shining crown to Ethel's own sooty hair, plastered behind her ears in a bun with the whole head encased in a hairnet. A kid couldn't quite figure his pride from his fear, standing like that on his birthday, so close to Ethel. So he dropped his birthday pennies into the donation bank with a befuddled smile, while the others gave a clap for each penny, a clap for each of his years. We all knew that about 100 years before that, Rosemary and Ethel's father, Eustace, was found face down in the rubble of tin wind-up toys. One evening, old Mrs. Knapsinger had run out of spoons, but when she entered the Jingling store, what she got instead was an eye full of Eustace Jingling jangled flat on the floor, with a glass shelf shattered across his back and a circus of metal monkeys drumming methodically around his head. It was common knowledge among us kids that Rosemary and Ethel had a feud going with Laura Boone, so it was their doing by means of some boiling water, toxic pine needles, vinegar, and hemlock root that she was cursed and impaled by a scythe while dragging grain from the barn. It came as no surprise then that they too cursed their father, profaning something that caused that hungry scoundrel, the rat, to graze an empty coffee can on his way to the bacon, causing the can to topple when the rat trap clapped shut, tipping over a rusted ivory soap sign which first teetered onto the shovel that dove for the shelf above Jingling's head as he was walking beneath it on his way back to the Crisco display. After she found him, Mrs. Knapsinger slipped on a rotted can of green beans before wailing her way down Main Street screaming for help. The following day, it was Rosemary one would find stowed away with the store's decaying inventory. People will be needing things, Rosemary told Ethel pragmatically on the night of their father's death. I will take his place. Rosemary and Ethel lived together and only left the house on Saturdays. With this change of seasons, however, Rosemary now waddled from their austere two-story house to the store each day, leaving Ethel behind with a closet full of scuffed black shoes and a legion of cats. The Jingling store's front door was set on the corner, angled toward the road with display windows for dishes on either side. The dishes weren't pretty, but practical, cost less than $1, and had been stacked exactly the same way for decades before Rosemary took over the store. Sometimes Dad would take me to pick out a dish for Mom when she wasn't feeling well, but mostly we went to the Red Fox grocery market when we needed anything. On one particular Sunday, after we'd already returned from shopping, Mom and Dad were whisper talking in the kitchen. Please, nothing else is open and I don't have anything here. Jinglings has to have something, Mom pleaded. Mom was sending Dad to Jinglings, alone. Thinking back on it now, I can see so clearly how the mistake must have happened. Dad left around 4:30 and was back before 5, the time that Rosemary walked home every night carrying the same suspect paper bag packed with no one knew what. Their interaction was cordial but scant. Rosemary materialized when Dad entered the store and caught her eating a sandwich in the back room. Other than Rosemary on her stool, I don't know what else was in that room. We never dared to go that far back. She was brushing something from her lips, scraping the globular wart on her chin with each brush, and when she finally emerged, she was folding one knobby hand over the other for warmth. "Can I help you?" she asked straightly. Dad was a quiet man, a farmer. He relied on the predictability of things like the rising sun and rain. He was a man of order, routine. With calloused hands hung at the side of his canvas Carhartts, he leaned in toward Rosemary, and he asked her for them. Rosemary had been as old as she had been alive, always with a gray bob of hair curtaining her ears. She couldn't hear. "I'm sorry?" she asked. Dad repeated himself with a muffled, awkward chuckle. Rosemary took a bulbous finger to her ear and pushed back the strings of ashen fringe hanging at her chin. Shrilly, she retorted, "An axe?" Dad pulled his green John Deere cap off by the bill, palmed his hair back with the other hand, and readjusted before repeating himself a third time. "Tampax. Do you have Tampax?" Tiny muscles weaving skin to bone visibly released as Dad's jaw slackened in relief. Rosemary finally understood. "Oh, okay, yes, we have those. I'll be back." A minute later, Rosemary returned. Dad saw the package she lay on the oak countertop, then glanced downward, pursing his eyebrows, pausing in thought. Whatever it was he wanted to ask or say, he brushed aside and dutifully unfolded his wallet to pay. Then, stuffing the package into his pocket, he turned around and left without another word. I had forgotten all about that Sunday and all about the Jinglings until all these years later, coming back to Hopedale after Mom passed away. She was sick for some time, and I didn't care much about news on the town, only news on Mom's health. Her nurse, however, a childhood friend, recently told me that Ethel died of heart disease, and Rosemary's body finally gave up after 6 long years in the nursing home. The Jingling store closed and its goods were auctioned off, all of Hopedale watching as the town's stories, those created, told, retold, and made real, faded into history. It had been more museum than store, its dusty cans of food rotten through with unrecognizable labels from the 1930s, holy fabric bolts from munching moths and mice, even high-button boots from Mr. Jingling's first shipment of inventory were preserved in a cabinet. After the auction, the store was converted into apartment buildings. Sitting at Mom's dressing table just after her funeral, I spotted a cork board on a wall. My eyes jumped around in her notes and pictures, the most precious pieces of her life on paper tacked together in one place. There was Dad, smiling from behind his accordion. There were butterfly wings and pieces of dress patterns. There were my sisters and me on the 4th of July, strawberry sundaes drizzling down our chins. There was Ginger, Mom's rosy-colored poodle. And then there was something I did not recognize from someone I did not know, a note in shaky ink on iris-lined stationery. Dear Mary, I'm sorry you're not feeling well. I would like to help you. Just send Leon over for whatever you need. I pray that God always provides everything you need. Rosemary Jingling. The gap between people's realities can be a span of silent space and time that closes sometimes only by accident. On that Sunday evening when Dad sheepishly said Tampax, what Rosemary finally heard was not Tampax, but thumbtacks. She would never know that what she provided that day was not what Mom needed, because Dad's wisdom said that sometimes we simply don't get what we ask for. Sometimes it is better to walk away and let an old woman hang on to her dignity. What none of us knew then was that Mom would use those same thumbtacks many years later to display on that corkboard her most cherished things. There are always stories we tell about the people who don't fit in with the stories we were told about who people should be. Mom should be here. The kitchen should smell like cream pie. The unfinished dress on the bed should be winding its way through the sewing machine. And I should not be a motherless mother. Somewhere in this muddled space between realities, we get a store full of someone else's crumbling dreams. We get cracked dishes and broken shelves. We get rotten labels. We get lonely. We get sick. We get embarrassed. And through it all, we get thumbtacks to fasten our frail papers and faded pictures, to hold together our hopes, to tack up today's shoulds and trust that, by God or by witches, we will always have exactly what we need. Now for something really good, Russ Anderson.
I'm content just to sit on the couch and just listen to you guys read more of your stuff, but unfortunately here you are with me. So one of the reasons that I said Miss Marilyn and I are very good friends is because we are both Cubs fans. And Miss Fritz and Miss Burdick and I, when we get together before we read, we all bring some pieces, and it turned out that Miss Burdick and I both kind of wrote about the Cubs. So if you are a Cubs fan, you are in luck. If you are a Sox fan, think about 2005, okay? Because this might be for you. My story kind of revolves around the Cubs, but it's not about the Cubs. And one of the reasons that I write is to figure out what I think about something. I always write about what I feel, and whether it's about teaching or politics or my family, I know I always feel something, but I don't really know what I think about it until I write it down. And oftentimes, when I'm done writing, what I actually came up with was way different than what I actually thought that I had initially began to write. So that's kind of what this is. So I want to begin with a quote from poet Mary Oliver. This quote appears in her collection of essays titled Upstream. Do you think there's anything not attached by its unbreakable cord to everything else? This past summer, I convinced my children that they were magic. I would come home to their wide eyes and smiles on June days after a full day of teaching summer school and softball camp, and I'd sometimes say, the Cubs game is on. And this is the first year where they were both old enough for the sentence to resonate and mean something to them. They knew the red C on the blue baseball hat. They knew that the home white jerseys, and they knew the names Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Addison Russell, and they knew all the words to the seventh inning stretch. We would run downstairs to catch the final inning or two of the 120 game. This summer, more often than not, thankfully, the Cubs would be winning. You see, I'd say, they're winning because you're watching. You're good luck. Yeah, we are, Dad. We're good luck for the Cubs, they would respond assuredly. They beamed with pride, believing, as most Cubs fans do, that their existence, their viewing, had some relevant impact on the outcome of the game. That they were part of some higher order, designed to aid the Cubs in victory. Well, what else could explain this? Who's to say whether or not they played a role or not in the Cubs' 103 wins, 8 of which came after trailing in the 9th inning. They believed it. And you know what? I kind of believed it too. So it was. And after each win, we sang "Go Cubs Go" as the television credits rolled, dancing and clapping in unison. In July, I took my 5-year-old daughter Kari to her first Cubs game, a majestic 12-1 drubbing of the Seattle Mariners. We held up our homemade sign between innings. We picked up her first-timer certificate. We ate expensive hot dogs, and we cheered our hearts out for the Cubbies and her favorite player, Anthony Rizzo, who, through what could only be attributed to my daughter's magic, hit a bases-clearing 3-run double. We left during the 7th inning as the skies darkened and rain washed over Wrigley Field. And these details are important. But not before we saw starter John Lester pitch the best game of the year, allowing 0 earned runs, and David Ross hit a solo home run to lead off the 6th inning to give the Cubs 6 runs. On the rainy ride home, Kari asked, "Dad, I'm good luck, huh?" "Yes, you are," I said. "You helped the Cubs win that game." She smiled and nodded in affirmation, donning her sopping wet jersey like a superhero's cape. They had done this for her. Because of her, she knew. All this was occurring in the shadow of my grandma's slowly deteriorating health. She had turned 97 in March. Her life story is far too long to recount here, but in short, she raised 13 kids. Yes, that's right, 13 kids by herself after her husband died of a heart attack.